Let's talk about Tears of the Planet. I'm back again to give my short, sweet, and to the point rating of every card in the set. So let's get started with Armstrong. 2 CP fire monster that I don't really ever see you wanting to pay 2 CP for. Armstrong gets a C. Next up we'll have Iron Eater. This is a warrior that was spoiled alongside of another warrior we'll get to later. It's very similar to Ward. You know, he enters the field, he does damage. Iron Eater doesn't have the burst like Ward, but it has the extra 1,000 damage, which there are times where you really just want that extra 1,000 damage. So I think this card's fine. I think you'd run it as like a one of or something, as a little toolbox, get it when you need it. So B+ on Iron Eater. If Avalanche member, it's fine. I mean, we'll give him a C. Now we have Ifrit. This is a cool little line of summons where you remove backups to lower their costs and they do stuff. I love the art on this. I'm so excited to get a full art copy of this card. I love this trend of summons with Princess Garnet in them, and I hope that continues. I mean, this thing's okay. It can choose any forwards, so like you can technically like enable Megissa with this, which is probably the best thing to say about this card. So I give it free to B. All right, now we have Ace. Don't worry about the job on this card. This is not a cadet card. This is a mono fire card, and a really cool one at that. Really spooky one. That this thing can become 0 and just start dealing points of damage. That's pretty scary. Up to 5, but I like Ace, and I think this card's scary. I'm gonna give it an A. Now we have Fire Legend Cloud. Another really cool card. This card's just like very versatile. I love that it's very generic. Another great mono fire tool. Just having pick 2 modals is great, and you know, the possibility of just playing like a 4-cost 7 character and something else for the 5. This card's awesome. I fully expect this card to see you play. A+ for Cloud. Ooh, Glenn. Scary, scary Glenn. This card is either gonna never see play, never resolve, or this thing's gonna be a problem. There's no in between. This is just like a scary, like, hey, you know what? Turn 1, Glenn, 2 dudes, pass, have fun. And if they ever have Genesis on board when they resolve this, you can just give them a handshake, because the game's probably over. I'm gonna give Glenn an A, because you know what? They constantly, we constantly are like, we get these cards where like, it was like, the 7-drop Warrior Light, where it was like, hey, you're gonna play 2 cards for free, and everybody's like, I don't know if I like that. And then they're like, well, what if we did it again? And they made Corilla, and everybody's like, I still don't know if I like this design space. And they were like, you know what? We're just gonna keep doing it. So now we have Glenn. We're just in this design pattern now of constantly having play a dude that plays 2 dudes. And it's scary every time. Security Officer. 3-drop backup with select one of 2 on it, or one of them is draw a card. All of the 3-drop backups, there's one in every element. They do something or draw a card. Every single one is getting an A, because I think at its worst, a 3-drop backup that says draw a card is great. I mean, you would play that. Plus it's multiplay. Yeah, all of these are getting an A. All right, Scythes. So these are very difficult, at least for me, to rate, because I don't have much experience playing with cadets, and there's gonna be, I feel like there's gonna be so many different ways to build cadets. We've got a lot of cadets to go through. It depends if you want to play mono lightning, if you want to play lightning fire, if you want to play 3-color. There's so many different builds for this deck, I feel like, and people are gonna be cooking. But just looking at it though with Scythe, I'm giving Scythe a B. It's a decent card. In its own right, it could just be a quick one cost haster you need to close out a game. Are you gonna play it over other Sices? Depends if you're in fire. So, but I think it's a B. I think it's a solid card. Next we have Salamander 3. This is one of our few crystal cards. Is this the only crystal card? This might be the only crystal card, actually. I think we shouldn't underestimate 2 crystals to deal 9,000 to 2 things, and that being repeatable. You know, is it worth it? I don't know. I was gonna say if you have a Lucio on board, you could every turn be doing 9,000 to 2 things. I have an intruder. But is that better than just using Lucio special? I don't know. We're gonna see where this card goes. I'm gonna give it a B- because again, I don't think you should underestimate 2 crystals for that much value. All right, Deuce. This card, again, if you're in fire, this is a great option. Will the deck be in fire? Who knows? But if you are, it's a burst, it's a backup, it gets a card. Again, if you're playing the cadets, this card probably shouldn't ever miss. So, B+ on Deuce. Next we have Trey. Now Trey, unless you're like not in Lightning, you just probably don't play this card. And I don't see a world where you're not in Lightning with cadets, because the Lightning cadets are just so good. So we'll give Trey a C. Hallam, a 2 CP backup. It does stuff. I think it's a good option if you're searching for a backup with like Leonora or something and you want a color fix. I think this Palom is a great pick. So we'll give Palom a B. Now we have Volker. So this is the other warrior I talked about back when we were talking about Iron Eater. This is our other legend. This is another one of those cards where I'm a little torn because this card reads incredible. Like pay 7, get 2, something's 3 cheaper, and it has value on board. It's nuts. It's just A, is there going to be room for it? You know, B, is it gonna do enough for warriors to push them forward? Or is it just gonna, you know, because it's gonna be, is it going to be a 3 of in the deck that you slam turn 1? Or is it going to be like a 1 or a 2 of that you search for if you're not, excuse me, if they're not playing fire with a mod? Because you pay 7 for this and it gets a modded, and that's gonna feel terrible. If you turn 1, discard 4 and play this and they mod it, it's like, yeah, that felt like crap. When sometimes I feel like Tyvis can do enough, you know? Tyvis is 5 to get 1 to play 1. This is 7 to get 2 to play 1 for 3 cheaper. Which a lot of the time, that's what Tyvis is doing, is playing a 3. So I'm giving Volker an A. I could be wrong on this, but I'm not. I'm genuinely kind of like, I go back and forth on this card's busted and this card's probably, who knows. Warriors is just such a tight build, so it's definitely tough. Next is Hell House. I'm not super thrilled about a lot of these rare monsters, so I'm giving Hell House a C. Rubicante. This is one of our Archfiends. We've got one in for each of the Archfiends plus Golbez. So again, it's another one where you have to, in rating them, you kind of think about like, these are going in one place, right? These are going in the Archfiend deck. Rubicante is definitely one of the like least favorites, I would say, of the 4 that I read. So C+ on Rubicante. And finally, red 13. Nothing about this card really like screams cool, like playable. Not a fan. C-. All right, moving into ice cards, we have Gimme Cat. Now, all the common monsters in this set are really, really boring, except for this cat. This cat is nuts. I fully expect us to see this cat in a lot of places. This card's just amazing. It's everything Ice could be asking for. A+ on Gimme Cat. Next we have Necron. Boy, when I first saw this card, I was so excited starting to read it, and then I just like read it a second time and was like, man, that is so close to being a really cool card. If this thing could remove from play cards on attack as well, so you could continue to remove things and then, you know, choose a card removed by Necron's ability and put it in the break zone, that would be cool. The fact that it only does it on entry makes this a kind of boring card, and very disappointed by it. It had a chance to be really cool, and it's just kind of meh, so D. Gipple. Gipple's okay. It's just, he gives Cat 10 support, but he's an ice. I don't know how hard you want to be an ice for Final Fantasy X stuff. I don't know. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe because he can protect them from abilities, give them 2k power. You got Barley and Ice Wind. You have some of the new stuff we'll get into in a bit. But it's also, you 5 CP for Adult Freeze, and then that's kind of, you know, and then it dies. I don't know. Not a huge fan of Gipple though, so I'm giving him a C. Chimera Brain. Rare monster, kind of boring. D. Edward. So I like this card. I think this card's got some, I really just like the cool interactions you can do, that you can stack them in such a way that you can get both effects if you have a way to discard a card on the stack. So I think it's, I'm giving Edward a B solely because I just really like the potential playstyles of the card. It does name clash if you're playing like the Ice likes to play sometimes the one that can remove things out of their break zone. So you do have a slight name clash there, but it just depends on what kind of deck you're building. Kurosame. One day the warp deck will be a thing. One day, I believe. And when it does, you might play this card. So, B. Zeed. I love the text on this card. I think the text on this card is awesome. You know, imagine playing against Warriors of Light and they play a Ferris to do pings, and you just stick this thing, back attack this thing down, and, you know, maybe their only adult characters at the time are backups because they're waiting for the activate on the Refia in the battle phase, and you just Zeed. Please get rid of a backup for that Ferris ping. So it's it is a card where you're playing ice, you just always have to be aware of, I think. And I think it's worth playing around with an ice. I really like it. So A. Oh boy. Here he is. Young Sephiroth. This is another card where, so I'm putting S on Sephiroth. This card will either, again, this is going to be one of those, this card's either going to just be a menace S, or you're just not going to see it very often. I don't think a lot of the text matters on this card. The only thing that matters is when a forward of first strike attacks, they discard a card. This isn't a soldier's card. This is a card for you to go turn one, General Rogue Dejin, or I'm sorry, turn 1, you just slam Roche for free. General Rogue Dejin, Sephiroth, combat, swing, 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 discard 3 paths. You know, this is gonna be one of those cards that's just play in Fujin Raijin decks. In all those decks that you're like, wow, this is unfair, Sephiroth just makes that even more unfair. So we may see Sephiroth be just completely unfair. We'll see. But he has the potential. I'm giving him S. Soldier Candidate. We've seen these before, and we know how they go. So I'll give this one a C. Chadley. This is a cool card. I really like this card. It sucks that the effect of gaining a counter is only on your opponent's turn, but either on your opponent's turn or once per turn. I understand like you'd want it to be once per turn on your turn or something, but I still think it's really cool to have a 2 CP backup that, you know, over time, because he doesn't break himself to revive. So it's really nice that you can just stack these counters and just late game just start bringing stuff back, you know. In like the ice priming deck, maybe you play it so you can just revive Clive when you need to on demand. I really think the card's cool. We're giving it a B+. Paladin. It's the 3 CP backup that gets an A. Nuge. Nuge, where'd you go? There's Nuge. So Nuge's best feature is that Nuge can color fix in ice. Nuge can get a backup in ice that's not ice. We can get Baralai, a wind backup, which is very cool. That's his best feature. It's a burst. It's a cool card. I just think it's really good. I think that potential alone. It sucks that you'd be Ice Wind and you'd want to play like Ice Wind Baralai probably, but I mean, you still have the opportunity of having a color fixture and Ice Wind through ice, which is really cool. So A on Nuge. Mateus the Corrupt. I love the art on this card. It looks so cool. I like the effect, you know. I think it's cool having being able to break a forward and dull freeze something. Let's see play. I'm not sure. We're gonna give it a B. Borgin. Borgin is I don't know. I'm not seeing a world where I really want to pay 5 CP for this backup. So C. Maynard. So Maynard reads really cool. Being able to like Witch of the Fens, sacrifice Abkalu to -7 something to end of turn, bring it back and draw a card. It's cool. And it could be really gross, but it's got this problem where you're paying 5 CP to hope you get value out of it. And if you spend your turn paying 5 CP for this and they just Odin it, anything it, bounce it back to your hand, it's gonna feel absolutely miserable. So I'm gonna give Maynard a B-. I can see where there's crazy plays, but I don't believe in this card. Yuna, on the other hand, a black mage in ice, which is a color you want to see the black mage in. So it's a 3 CP, gets a Gullwing on entry, so it's already awesome. And then it can continuously play Gullwings, which is kind of cool. Got an S ability. I think there's like all the text on this card is just good. So we're gonna give Yuna a B+. And our final ice card is Len. I really like Len. Also, Len and Shuyin might be my favorite art in the set. I think they might be my favorite art in the entire set. Where does she go? That's an interesting choice. An interesting topic. I'm not sure. But, you know, my first thought was like, oh, you could play this in like some form of like a Ice Earth Chaos Arc or something. So you could, you know, Chaos and then Arc and then threaten the Arc from Grave on their turn whenever they want to do something. The only disadvantage of Len is that her remove the top card of your deck is mandatory, and there is a world where, like, say that exact scenario I just said, you have a Chaos, you play the Chaos, whatever, and then you go to attack phase and you reveal a Chaos. Now that thing's out of the game for the rest of time, which is like, wow, that really sucks. So you could end up getting rid of some of your best cards in your deck if they name clash or something. But I really believe in this card. I think it's really cool. There's lots of really cool potential with it. Len is getting an A from me. Possibly. You know what? Put a plus on there. A plus. I believe in you, Len. Let's go to win cards. We have Aerith. So the piece of text I like the best on Aerith is that she can pick a character. Where that will be relevant, I don't know, but she can still remove the abilities of a character, which is super cool. So it could be just like the leading play in a turn where, you know, you just need to shut off that one card, which stops things. First thing that comes to my mind is something like Yagg-Rosh. Maybe you're playing a Ice Wind build where you really want to start doing some Dull Freeze shenanigans or something, and you got this Yagg-Rosh in the way, and Aerith can turn it off, which is super cool. Maybe you need a cheap way to turn off a Cecil, a 5-drop Cecil, before you start going off on a turn. It's another cool option to do that. I think it's just a really cool card, and at the end of the day, if it dies, you get a refund for it. So that's really nice also. I'm gonna give Aerith an A. King, we're back to cadets. King gets a B, just because I think if you put the text, put a forward at the bottom of the deck on a card, I think you automatically have to respect that card. You're gonna have no trouble getting to 5 cadets, so we'll just pretend this is a 5 CP 9K that bottom deck something. It's not bad. I'm gonna give King a B. It's expensive, but again, you have to respect bottom deck. There's no cost restriction on that. You want a bottom deck a 9 cost? Go for it. King can do that. Queen. So Queen, I'm also giving a B, and it's mainly just, so like I said, if you are playing Wind, you might like to play this card. Having it every turn activate 2 backups, that's pretty awesome. She has other targets, maybe the lightning one with haste that has abilities when it attacks. Maybe you'd play that one if you're only on lightning or something, but I think if you're in Wind, you respect this card. So, could be. Now we have Gubu. We're giving him the rank Gubu. That's all we gotta say. I love this guy. Look at him. Look at this lovable creature. As the card itself, but it's Gubu. Come on. All right, Cater. Cater is gonna get an A because this is probably the best Cater we've gotten. So if you're in Wind, this is the best Cater you're gonna play probably. It's a burst, draws a card. Cool. Chocobo Chick. Chocobo Chick will get a C. It's got some neat text on it, but I just don't see a world where you're ever gonna play this card. So, sorry, big-headed Chocobo, you're gonna get a C. 3 CP backup and Wind gets an A. Moving on. Zidane, we don't need any more of you, buddy. you're just name clashing with some of the best cards in the game. As soon as you look at the name, I don't care what's in that text box below. It's probably not worth it. This is a D. Name clash broke. Just like name clash ruined this card. Sid. So Sid, Sid's getting an A because it's a 5 CP backup that gets 2 cards. That's just good. And they don't have to be different names. They don't have to. They just have to be forwards. So heck, pull 2 Yuffie's out of your deck. Historically, having Yuffie in the special online is pretty good. Plus, he has a damage 5 ability, which is also really cool. So, yeah, this is a solid A. I think you can't go wrong with a 5 CP backup that gets 2 cards. Theodore. C. I don't know how to rate this card, but I'll just say it again. The warp deck will be a thing one day. I believe. Chocobo. Another C for Chocobo. It's fine. It's a bird. You know. If you're playing birds, you might like this. It can just replace itself. But I don't know if anybody's playing birds. And we have 9. 9 gets a C, maybe even a C minus. There's just, you're competing with other 9s. I think even if you're in wind, you've got plenty other backup choices in cadets. I just don't see why you care about playing this card. Maricia. Now we're getting into some Archfiends that are a little better. So 3 cost, you can add a card back on entry. So that gets you your 2 back. It's a burst. So immediately already like that card. So gonna give Maricia a B. Next we have the Mandragoras. This card's cool. All right. This is probably my favorite of the rare line of monsters. It's just very cool as this offensive or defensive piece where they just have to respect that you can pay 3 CP at any time on their turn to just chump block something and start taking stuff out. I think it's really cool. I think it is the coolest of the rare ones, and we'll give it a B. And next we have Yuffie, another card where name clash just kind of ruins it. This card kind of just sucks. D. Lucia. So this is one of the soldiers that you're kind of meant to spawn off of Glenn. Activate all the soldiers you control is a crazy line of text on its own. I don't know if you're ever really going to dull 3 active soldiers to draw a card, except maybe for the turn you slam all 3 out with Glenn, getting you like a refund of a card. But gonna give it a B. It's a soldier and wind is weird, but again, Glenn kind of just negates that. Our final wind card and legend is Rem. We're still in Cadet World. So I'm gonna give Rem a B. And maybe this is a hot take, not sure. I don't really believe in this card. It's just, it's Grahatia for cadets, and it's gonna feel like crap when this card gets modded. It's got a name clash. It's just a card I don't know if you need. It's not a bad card by any sense. Like, absolutely, Grahatia is not a bad card. Rem isn't a bad card, but as the legend for cadets, I just don't know if I believe in this card. I don't know if you need this card in cadets. I'm sure there'll be builds that play it and run it and use it really effectively. I just don't know if I see it. So I'm gonna give her a B. I think the card's just fine. It's just, eh. Moving into Earth cards, we're looking at Ursula. I like the other Ursulas better. I mean, this card's got some okay text on it. It's kind of sucks to have this. It's a rare, but like having the attack trigger with no way to buff herself. Again, I just like the other Ursulas, so C. Atomos. This is also on the list of my favorite arts of the set. It's so pretty. What a cool looking card. As for the effect, it's fine. I mean, a 3 CP, possible 1 CP, just blow something up into oblivion is pretty cool. Would feel kind of bad to lose your break zone, but we'll give it a B-. I think it's okay. Vincent, this card sucks, man. Look at that. Look at that action ability. 7 CP to do a little damage to something. D. Where at again? Gimme Cat stole the show. All the other common monsters suck. D. Now we're looking at Wool. Oh boy, this card is terrifying. That special is nuts. Just reveal 3, add 2. No restriction. Just take 2 cards for S Earth. That's pitch a card, add 2 cards. I think this card's scary. Not to mention, it also has value on the board. Again, it's a special. You're discarding a card named Wool, but it's not the most outrageous name to have. Will it see play? I don't know. I really don't. I think, though, the card just reads too good. I don't know where it belongs, but I think that ability just reads too good. I'm gonna give Wool an A+. I thought about giving it an S, but again, it's not sure. But the ability is just kind of awesome. So A+ on Wool. Cutter. Again, this is one of the rare monsters that I don't mind. I don't know if you'll play it, but I don't mind it. It's got a neat ability, so C+. Look at that. 3 CP backup. Gets an A. These are just solid cards. Ooh, Kate Sith. I love this card. It's Edgar in Earth. Which is really cool, especially for like Earth Lightning Shells with Reeve that can search this card. I really like it. I like having this ability in another element, and I think there's going to be some really cool decks that can utilize this Kate Sith. So we'll give the Kate Sith an A. Okay, let's look in general. I'm giving this card a C. Like, yes, it's when it leaves the field, not like when it goes to the break zone, which is really nice. But I think you've got better plays in the Warriors deck than, you know, paying 5 for this thing that has to leave the field to get value. And even when it does, they could just like misdragon you. I just don't think there's room in the deck for something that kind of just eh. So C, I don't believe in this card. Now it's Scarmiglione, another one of our Archfiends. This one's really cool. If you're playing the Archfiends deck, I like that, you know, your opponent's goal will be remove the Golbez from the field, and you have a constant ability not only to back attack it from hand, but when we get to the Golbez, you'll see to play this thing from deck to protect your Golbez. So this is one of the more solid Archfiends we got, and I'm gonna give it an A. Sophie, this is a weird card. A lot of Mobius stuff, but I don't know if it's really gonna be that awesome. It's fine. We'll call it a B. Soldier Candidate, another one of these guys. They'll probably be good in sealed, but we're not talking about sealed, so D. Dine, Dine gets to fight something if you have 5 backups. And he can get to 10k damage through. Nothing too crazy. We'll give him a C. Tifa. The text on this card is fine, but it's a card named Tifa, which name clashes with so many other cards I feel like you'd play, especially in Avalanche Operatives. I want to play the Fire Earth one, so D for name clash. Now Barret for Avalanche Operatives. I know that this guy's got a name clash, but I think this card is awesome. I think it is scary how easy you can get this card online. Being able to just like turn 1, jam the Barret, play one of the backups that searches another one, you know, and then play the other one, and then next turn be able to play like Jesse, dude, give it haste, it's just very easy to just go like Barret, back up, go next turn, dude, combat, Barret 9 is ability for 9k, swing with like 4 dudes. It'd be interesting to see if this can get Avalanche Operatives to kind of be that aggro deck up there with like Knights. I don't know if it'll have the same kind of gas, but we'll see. I really like the card though. We're giving it an A. Next is Riku, not a black mage. This Gullwing is a warrior, and I like that it is because 3 CP is the number you want to be at with a warrior. It plays a backup when you when it enters the field, so you just have these potentials to just go, you know, backup, Pivus, Riku, Edgar, Furion, combat, swing, draw a card. Oh boy. That's pretty sweet. So this card is probably going to be a really cool buff to warriors. And I really like it. So A. Luca's fine. It sucks that, you know, you already see Mono Earth decks play Miner, which is very generic, just get an Earth backup, and we still see that thing whiff sometimes, so Luca's even a little more specific, so, but it's still fine, so we'll call it B. Vargid yeah, D. 8, so I really like 8. 8, it's so funny how much these cadets are like the Scions. We talked about Rem being Graha. 8 is Estinian. It's a hasty body that adds something back. 8 has to deal damage, unfortunately, but it's still a very cool card. And depending on your elements, this is probably just the 8 you choose. So we will give 8 an A. Scorpion Sentinel, rare monster, D. Kuja. Kuja's fine. He's kind of tough. You know, I was thinking about it in the lens of like Ice Lightning. He does name clash with the LB Kuja. There is also a 2 CP Kuja backup, which you unfortunately probably prefer so long as Knights are in the meta, because that one breaks a 2 cost on entry and it's a burst. So, you know, maybe you'd see this one roll over to be a preferred one, but it is a cool card and it's a cool way that you could like close out a game. But the other Kuja also just dulls something. You break it to dull something. So if you're trying to move something out of the way to close a game, I still just think the other Kuja is just better. But maybe there's a world where you could choose this one, like I said, maybe when 2 costs aren't as prevalent in the meta. So B-. Zac, our Lightning Legend, is a cool card. I like this card. The only problem with it is there's just so many good card named Zacs. It's hard to choose. But I feel like they all kind of have their specific homes. And this one's no different. This one's very aggressive, but it's very cool, and I just like the card. So A. Someone at Square Enix Hobby Japan really hates Amaranth. Someone just really doesn't like this guy. This card's a D. It's just, it sucks. Poor Amaranth. Now we're gonna look at Jack. Jack is very cool. First off, it's got a burst. You'll love to see that. And again, with a lot of these cadet cards, if it's like, if you control 5 or more Class 0 cadet, let's just ignore all the stuff before it. That was probably going to be the easiest requirement in the world to hit in cadets. We'll look at this card as when Jack enters the field, choose a forward, break it. On a burst, on a 4 CP AK. That's a good card. I like that card. A. Sync, another A. We just got all these A's. This is a really, really, really good sync. Again, especially if you're in like a mono lightning or something, you have no competition for name there because the other ones are in like fire. 4 CP backup that could just play something is awesome. So this card's great. 7 is a little more complicated. Again, kind of in the same route. If you're in like a mono lightning shell, this card's great. 2 CP backup that does cool things on the board. If you're in wind, the old Snakebite 7 is still a good card. Like, I like Snakebite 7. Then you've got an argument. But this is still a really awesome card. Like I said, it's gonna have its home in certain cadet builds. So this is a B. No, B+. This is a B+. Soldier Candidate. This one's got a cool effect. C? Okay. Pain? We're back to Black Mages. For some reason, Riku just didn't want to be a Black Mage, but that's fine. Again, we're a Black Mage in the color you want to see for Black Mages. I think that's good enough to give this card a B. Except Baralai. You know, we've already got some decent Baralai, but they're in Ice Wind, so this card's cool. I like to think of it as like, I mean, it's just a 3 CP backup that can add something back. Think of it like we currently have like Nero Restrictor, you have Nuj Baralai, you know, for like Ice Lightning. It's a decent enough card. We'll give it B. Vivi. Boy, I feel like FF9 really kind of was the throwaway game this set. I know it's category WAF, but still. D. Adramelech, the Wrath. This is honestly, I think, one of my least favorite of the cycle of summons. 5 CP to deal 7,000 to everything, and then you have to take a point of damage? And you could give up a backup to make it a 3 CP 7k wipe that deals you a point of damage. I just don't see it. It doesn't feel that great. C. And we have Rude. Another one of these 3 CP adds something back, and then he could dull something. Every attack phase. He's got the Spectral Key protection, which is really cool. I love the art, first off, but this was spoiled with the next card we're going to talk about, which is Reno. This one impressed me a lot less, but so we're going to give Rude a B, because now we can talk about Reno. This card I think is awesome. I'm gonna give Reno an A. I was tempted to go to A+, but maybe I'm overhyping it a little bit. But I think there's a lot of really cool like interactions with this card. This isn't gonna be one of those cards that you see in every deck playing Lightning, but I think there will be like a specific build that can abuse this card and be really annoying. So We're gonna give Reno an A. Moving into water, we have Abzu. This is one of the rare ones I also don't really mind, just because, you know, having that blanket, just power can't be increased, is very nice. And not only can it become a forward, but it also can do something with boosting 5,000 power without discarding cards or something. So Abzu's fine. I still don't think it's really gonna see play, but it's fine. Of the rare summons, I think it's fine. Abzu Shote, no, I'm just not seeing it. It's like a meh version of Malboro. We already have a 1-cost water monster that can blank abilities, but it doesn't choose, which is the really nice thing about Malboro, is that it doesn't choose for ability removal, and you get the 3k power loss, which is very relevant for like Witch of the Fens. So this card sucks. Famfrit, the Darkening Cloud. He's okay. I don't mind this card. It sucks it doesn't cancel the auto, but you know, then it would cost a lot more probably. But it is nice that it chooses the auto ability and then just puts the thing in the break zone, so it gets around things that like choose a forward, or this forward can't be broken, or any of those things. So I still don't, you know, see a world where you want to let them get their auto on a forward, but you just want to kill it, you know. Yes, like maybe you could do it to a 4-cost Warrior of Light, but I don't know. If they got another, they'll just play another, because they're still going to activate their backups and draw a card. But I don't know, we'll see. But this card's fine. I like it. Again, it's got some neat text on it. It's got some neat interaction. Cagnazzo, another Archfiend. This one's kind of eh. It's kind of down there with Rubicante. I'm gonna give it B-. Cagnazzo's okay. Then we'll go B, just because like your other options for Cagnazzos aren't any more impressive. Quattro Queen, whatever. Binder Fodder, D. Kraken. So this is a card where I feel like I've heard some naysaying and some hype for this card, and I feel like it's very back and forth. I'm right now of the belief that I think this card's awesome. I think we've got a lot of decks right now, like Mono Earth, like Refia, these decks that really just they need to get to like 4 backups to start playing the game. And so Kraken is a cool way for, you know, them to go, like Refia, go King Tycoon Lena, and you go, okay, Kraken, take away your Lena. That already feels amazing. Because you do have to be careful, because you pick the King Tycoon, if they kill the Kraken, they're going to get to King Tycoon Search, because it is going to enter the field again. But there's enough of these decks. Earth's running these Leather Workers, and you know, Refia's running Luniths and Lenas and cards that are fine without these enter the fields. And it may just be this card that's enough to slow down those decks long enough to kind of let yourself get set up ahead of their time. In addition, it discounts your monsters, so you play like 2 blue worms off this thing and you already feel like you've gotten your value out of this Kraken. So it may be one of the stem, you know, these slow decks that want to rely on their backups. I'm not sure though if there's space for it. So A? Question mark? Cloud of Darkness. Personally, I hate any card that lets my opponent choose. They're always going to choose the option that's best for them. They will always pick their 2 worst forwards for this. D. I don't like cards that say your opponent picks. Corsair. Corsair's fine, but I don't see anywhere where this card gets played, so C minus. A. Cecil. D. There's so many Cecils you'd rather play than this. All right, Tidus. There's a deck for this. There is a deck for this, and I want to figure it out. This card just reads way too good. So we're giving Tidus an A+. I want to give it an S, but I haven't really conceived where it goes to give it that S rank yet. So we're gonna give it A+ because this card just reads too good to not be that high. I think this card I love everything about this card. Plus it's gorgeous. The Doctor. Dr. Sid. Another card where I feel like I've heard just as much love as just as much, not hate, but you know, naysaying about this card. I'm giving Dr. Sid an A. I love this card. As I said before, I think any card that has put a forward at the bottom of its owner's deck on it, you just have to respect that card immediately because that effect is already just amazing. Sometimes that just means the end of seeing that forward. So many decks rely on break zone recursion. They're like, oh sure, go ahead, break it. I'll just bring it back. Knights, I'll just rams that back on the field. In Refia, I got Kusits, I got Arc, and Dr. Sid says, no you don't, it's going back in the deck. It's a cool way to stem early aggression in Water. Water has a lot of these bodies that can do things, but they need time to set up. Gao needs monsters. Witch of the Fens, a lot of the time you don't want to pitch your monsters that early in the game. Ash needs backups. Dr. Sid is just a 4 CP stop that. Plus, it has cycling. So if you have kind of an opening hand, you can just go, all right, Dr. Sid, bottom decker dude, I get to draw a discard. And now every time you remove something, I'm gonna draw a discard, allowing me to get to my backups to my monsters faster. I love this card. I'm really gonna be playing around with this card and I think it's great. Giving it an A. Broden, it's fine. 3CP draw 2 cards is great, so B-. Porum. I like this Porum. I know that if you were to search a 2CP Porum backup, we already have one in the one that's like raw pitch if it's a Cat 4 card. Or what is it? You like discard a Cat 4. If it's Cat 4, you draw 2, otherwise you draw 1. This one at least is like you have more, and that one's also like dull break, something takes less damage. This one's nice in that it's just like 2 CP cycle. It could be honestly the make or break sometimes in fixing your hand when you dead draw 2 backups for a turn. Porum just says, hey, give me 2 CP and I'll let you trade one out. I think just like the Palom before, if you're going for like a Leonora into a backup thing, I think you probably, unless you're playing a lot of Cat 4 stuff, I think you pick this one instead of the other one. So I really like it. B+. Here's our other soldier that Glenn is meant to play, Matt. He's fine. I like all the text on the card. He's unfortunately in Water, but again, Glenn says that doesn't matter, so B. So here's our other Water legend. We're looking at Maya, and I'm gonna come right out and say it. I don't think this card is that great. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But right now, I don't think this card is that great. This card gets a B from me because I think the text on it is fine. It's not a bad card, but I just, I don't know. It's not vibing with me. And our final Water card is Rosa. Rosa's also just whatever. I'm gonna give it a C. Moving into our light cards, Fusoya, 2CP, 9K is always good. You love to see that, but it is a light card. It's got the S ability, but that requires you to play more light cards. So, that's fine. We'll give it a B. Yuna. A+. I love all the text on this card, and I think this card will be a menace. Just rolling out a bunch of bodies and then playing Yuna. That's amazing. And honestly, if you have a deck where you just are able to go like, even just a forward and Yuna on your first turn, making them pay the 1 for an auto ability is really devastating on their first turn because they have to discard a card. So if they want to play any backup that searches, or any forward that does something, or any summon to remove those 2 forwards, they're paying 2 because they don't have a backup yet to pay the 1s. They have to discard a card. So if you could roll 4 forwards with the Yuna on turn 1, they are not playing auto abilities on their first turn. It is just not happening. Because you're gonna make them discard 2 cards to do an auto. Even if they want to, if it's a bunch of 2 costs and they want to Ixion, go ahead. You're gonna pay 6 CP for that Ixion, and we're just gonna start the game with both of us no cards in hand. I think this card's awesome. A+ on Yuna. Very, very, very cool card. I'm excited to see what happens with it. Vegnagun. It's fine. I'm not super sold on this card. It's got really cool effects on it. You know, having a board clear for your opponent on demand, even on their turn, is cool. But getting them there and keeping them there, waiting for that moment to remove 2, is going to be so difficult. And so, like, there's going to be lots of games where it's like, you know, they're gonna discard the first Vegnagun for the effect, and you're gonna go, all right, I'm just gonna remove that from the game. Like, and they go, oh yeah, I guess I'm never removing 2. So it's okay, but I don't really. It may have a cute like dark deck it fits in. Finally, the limit breaks. Machina's got a B. He's fine. He's got the restriction he needs probably, which is you can only play him when you have no forwards. Because an LB1, this is just a cheap pitch a card Machina. It's a good just I need a quick forward, and it's a cadet, which could be relevant. So Machina gets a B. Red 13 gets an A. So I think this card's awesome. This will be very scary. Remember we talked about Barret? Look at this thing. You just have Barret and 2 Avalanche Operatives on the board. You go, all right, discard 2, red. All right, now I have this thing, and all my dudes are huge. So, red's scary. I like this, though. I think it's a really cool LB. Camlino. We're talking about cute dark decks. This could be it. But even not in cute dark decks, chaos decks. As long as you have like the Tiro, because almost any chaos deck you can think of, like Chaos Arc, they're gonna play Tiro. They're gonna play Earth. So it's just an easy, just break something. It's not a bad card. B. Shuin. So now we finally get to see the other half of that Len art, and boy, it is gorgeous. This card is also terrifying. If Chaos, Chaos Turbo one, if that card hadn't gotten its restriction, oh my gosh, this would be horrendous. But we aren't living in that world, so it's still a really good card. Having a dark card searcher is awesome, and it being LB, so you have it on demand, that's kind of scary. So Shuin gets an A. I think this card's scary. Aerith, a 5 CP search. I mean, it's fine, but you know, you're LB2ing for it. I don't really think you're really gonna see this card seeing much play, so give it a C. The Emperor. So this LB, we finally get a wind LB that just feels so awesome. I think this card's amazing. We're gonna give it an S. This card would be S plus if it was LB1. LB2 does kind of suck. You are giving up a chunk of your limit break deck, but if you also like turn 1 this against a lot of decks right now, you know, they're gonna play backups to search other backups. You're just gonna draw cards. I mean, you're gonna 1-for-1 them every time. It's gonna feel so good. So yeah, I'm still putting S on this because I think this card's awesome. Sarah Mobius. I want to be excited about this card. I really do. The art's really pretty. It's so cool. But it's a mill card. It's a Raijin enabler. Raijin is the problem. I don't think we needed an LB card that mills yourself when Fuji and Raijin are still in the game. That fact alone makes this card an A+. Just it's doing what nobody needs a card to do right now. Yang, Monk LB, A. Kayn. My only problem with Kayn is that I wish this would have been anybody else. Make it Surf Ratley. We had FF9 characters this set. Make it Surf Ratley. This Kayn just like, it's not really name clashing and anything you're playing in Dragoons. The only thing people were playing was the back attack one, the backup Kayn with back attack. I like back attack cards. Now you're like, well, you're just not gonna play the back attack one because you have this LB. That's disappointing, but the card is fine. We'll give it B. LB4, Sephira. This is a big bad card. It is scary that it can break your own forwards, and that it dulls your own forwards. But this card's still terrifying. It's super cool. Love this card. This one gets an A. Graph. Water LBs are kind of awesome, and this is not. So there's just no room in the LB deck for Graph. So D. Leonora, kind of I feel like has the same thing. I don't know where, you know. At least like there are some cool Cat 4 targets you maybe want to get. Wind Cecil, Earth Rydia. But, you know, that's a very specific deck. In terms of just water, they're not hurting for limit break cards. So Leonora gets a C. And our final card is Golbez. We finally see the Archfiends that I've been talking the entire time about. It's very cool. This card is very cool. I expect to be seeing people brewing with this card. It's really, really neat. We're giving Golbez an A. I think the Archfiend deck is a real thing. I think it's scary, and I think it'd be really cool to see how it develops. Yeah, I just really like the card. So that, I think, will be doing it for our review. Let me know what you think. Let me know what cards you are super excited to build around. You know, I myself am very excited to see Tidus and Dr. Sid. Especially Tidus. I really want to see what kind of decks kind of get to build around Tidus. Excited to see if Barret can accelerate Avalanche operatives back into the world. And I'm excited to see how Warriors develops with Volker, Iron Eater, Riku. Got a lot of support. The deck is just super tight. So I'm really excited to see how people start brewing that. But yeah, let me know what you're most excited for. And I will be seeing everybody in the next one. Take care.